All right, thank you, and great to be here. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. This is another session of Live with Hype. Tackling the real challenges, the real, I would say, solutions that are coming up in the sports universe, in the sport tech universe. And we have a special session today where we speak to Jamie from the New York Islanders. Hey, Jamie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Pleasure, pleasure. And I before you introduce yourself, you as a club, as a team, as I would say, during this COVID period, most of the clubs and teams that we spoke to were a little bit shaky, put everything on hold, and you really took a proactive step and really looked for innovation to accelerate the processes, the solutions that are available. We can see that in any event, in any sports, in anything, in any aspect, I think, of life, COVID accelerated processes. And I wanted to ask you, first of all, what's the status now with where you are, and how did you came up with this idea of proactively looking for innovation in this special time?
I think it fits into our broader vision for the Islanders and for the team's new arena, UBS Arena. Actually, we just closed our naming rights deal. We're very excited. But overall, going into the whole process, even pre-COVID, we thought of ourselves as a third generation arena. And what does that mean? To us, we're really focused on identifying startups and innovators who would be able to improve the fan experience. And so from day one, even pre-COVID, we were always looking for opportunities to differentiate ourselves with technology, but not for technology's sake. We're really looking for partners and ideas that will really help us elevate the experience for our new venue.
Right. So if I understand you right, the focus is on the fan experience and to elevate the experience over in the stadium. Now, when you think about elevating the fan experience, do you think, why now you decided to accelerate this? And if you can share a little bit about the strategy, if you have any, with regards to innovation.
So the key strategy stems from our owner, who has a vision that the arena should be a beta lab for emerging platforms. We just for background, I work for the ownership group of the Islanders. We're currently building the Islanders a new home in Elmont, New York, and we recently announced our naming rights deal with UBS, and really excited to be working alongside these world-class partners on the arena project, including Oakview Group and Sterling Project Development. But really, the new arena will open in the 21-22 NHL season, and will soon after be followed by a development of 350,000 square feet of luxury outdoor outlet retail shopping and a 200-key hotel. So we have this 43-acre property, tons of different opportunities, and it's really a great breeding ground to define the next generation of technology. We have a lot of use cases, a lot of ideas, and a lot of places to try these things. So it really fits into the broader picture of how can we turn this campus into a technology hub, a beta lab, where companies will come to us with use cases or with ideas, and we can match those up with kind of our vision of trying these things out, figuring out what's on the bleeding edge, and delivering a one-of-a-kind experience.
Great. And, I'm thinking about, because as I know, you already have this, I would say, process and tradition of looking at, let me be the devil's advocate a little bit and ask you, why do you need to be part of an acceleration program where, people are helping you around that? You already have this in place. You have tons of startups already knocking on your doors. Why would you waste your time on an external program?
I think there's value everywhere, actually. And it's great to get to be cold called, but to have a curated program one, with a network of other teams involved, and two, with hand-picked vendors from the accelerator, it does a lot of the work for us, and that's really powerful. It takes a lot of time to filter through all the applications. It takes a lot of time to go and do the research. So to have a company like Hype come in and organize that process for us really opens up my bandwidth to find out who we can partner with, as opposed to, oh, I've got to filter through all of these applications. Focus more on the engagement side versus the filtering side.
Great.
Which is helpful. That's 90%. That's 90% of the success there, is making sure that it's engaged properly.
Yes. So filtering is first, the first part, and then obviously the engagement. Now, when speaking about solutions, can you, looking at the solutions you've seen, and I know you've been quite engaged in the program by looking at startups, working with startups and different solutions. Was there anything there that really inspired you, got your attention, or it was all, like, I would say, more of the same, enhancing a little bit the fans experience?
I think from our perspective, we have a pretty good pulse on what the bleeding edge is in concept and what we'd like to be and become as we go into the new arena. But it's really always surprising to me to see how advanced the companies are towards helping us achieve those objectives, where I would have thought some of these things are a couple years out. People are already knocking at our doorstep with ideas, and they're ready to be proven now. And that's always the big surprise, is how quickly technology is evolving, and it just keeps getting faster. Faster
is key. And, we had a similar conversation with our partner in Germany, in the Bundesliga, FC Köln, a gentleman called Philipp Liesenfeld. And he said that the Bundesliga had a meeting and they decided to bring the plans of, the plans overall, and specifically around fan experience, to bring them for 2025 to 2021. So it's funny because you mentioned accelerating and fast. Can you see a similar trend in the NHL and where you are in terms of really being open now to try new technologies, to bring, I don't know whether it's AI technology, augmented reality. Do you find there is more, I would say, generous listening in the team for that?
I think that the uncertainty actually does us a big favor in the moment, because a lot of technologies that existed years ago that nobody was using that were great are now getting adopted by the customer, which means from our perspective, we need to go back and take a hard look at what's already been out there and say, oh, do we think that COVID, obviously it's not going to be here forever, but has it impacted the fan behavior in a way that will ultimately redefine the way we should be thinking about technology? Think about contactless. This is not a new thing, but now with COVID, people who otherwise weren't exposed to mobile apps and NFC are now completely engrossed in how amazing the technology is. Maybe now they're going to use it more often in an arena. Maybe that's going to be a key defining pillar of the arena because of the way fans are experiencing the technology at home in the pandemic. But again, it's uncertain. We can't really project the future. We just want to put ourselves in a position that we understand where the technology is and where we think people are going to be by the time we open.
Fascinating. Now, can I ask you maybe, there are very few women in this space. And, we always, when we do a webinar or event, we always get, all kinds of people writing some, not enough women, etc., etc. How did Jamie got into the New York Islanders? Tell us the story.
I have an interesting background. I played ice hockey my entire life, and so the Islanders and NHL team, naturally, it was an interesting fit, but I kind of got here by chance because I was playing professional women's hockey right out of college, and obviously the women don't earn the salary the men do, so I needed a second job to pay my bills. So I took a job basically in the mailroom, coding frame by frame every away game for the periods of the Islanders. So I came in on the analytics team, and then over my years got more involved in analytics, eventually shifted over to the ownership office, and now work alongside a range of my colleagues on technology, innovation, analytics, and overall business strategy. So my interesting, I guess to take this somewhere applicable is I started at the bottom, and I've just applied interest and kind of worked my way through all of these opportunities. We have the fortune of building an arena, and so there's tons of work to be done, and I've been fortunate to be involved.
Amazing. Can I ask a question on your hat as I would say, one of the most experienced analysts in the space? When you look, I don't know, 3-5 years ahead, how would, analysts and all the work around data will look like in the NHL or in other sports? Can you give us a glance into the future?
Well, with the NHL is particularly interesting because they're about to launch the live player tracking data, which means they're going to be getting in real time direct access. It's called puck and player tracking, so that they're going to be able to analyze and present the game in a whole new light. And so for us, when we think about the applications, it's all about the fan experience. Hockey operations is going to do what they will with that data. But for us, we're really excited to take that and truncate it into our scoreboard, into our app, and into these enhanced, maybe augmented reality or potential games that we develop all in real time. So it's not just the data that's really important to us. I think data is endless. It's actually the connectivity of the building that's going to be most important, because the data is all for naught if you don't have the connectivity in the building to support those applications. And so from our stance, our number one priority was making sure we have an infrastructure that can support anything. And so we feel that we've future-proof to the greatest extent possible. And now we have the ability to go and look at things like the XYZ player tracking data and think about these innovative use cases and exclusive in-venue opportunities, also opportunities that people can do from their home to really keep our fans engaged at all times and give them the best experience possible.
Okay, let me make it a little bit harder on you. If I take my son to the Islanders game in 5 years' time, how would the experience look different to the experience I have now?
I think sports is an interesting one because people always go up to the game, not for the technology. The technology always just makes the game better. So it's always going to be a social experience. Otherwise, people would go by themselves. How often do you go to a game by yourself? You go with your friends, you go with your son, you go with whoever wants to go with you, because there's something about an atmosphere. So for us, there needs to be a balance between that energy, that social environment, the noise of people physically watching the game and putting their phone down. And then in the pauses and in certain moments of the game, maybe that's when you're on your phone. Or maybe 5 years from now, who knows what the phone looks like. But ultimately, technology has its place in sports. And as it evolves, it's going to change. But I think really there's that balance you have to mitigate. And to answer your question specifically, I think that there's going to be all kinds of new media and new content opportunities for you to enjoy, to kind of get that, call it like advanced programming. Think about the AR. I point my phone at a player and it shows me his stats. How likely is he to score? Think about not just the viewing experience, but also the traditional pain points. How can you use technology to reduce lines? How do you reduce wait times to get in the arena with next generation AI concepts? Wow. These are all things that are coming out, or they've been out actually. And that by the time we come in 5 years, maybe you're at an arena where you don't stop for security. Your face is your ticket. The ticket scanner is contactless. You don't have to take anything out. You just walk through. And if you don't pose any threat, you've been detected, you're safe. Now I'm just walking to my seat. Maybe my phone triggers me. Hey, like, do you want a beer? Do you want a drink? Do you want chicken fingers? It knows what I've ordered in the past, and it pushes me a notification in real time. And by the time I get to that concession stand, I just grab my food and I walk to my seat. I think that's really where we're heading. How many years out we are from that? Well, time will tell. But it's really
fascinating. I think you described it beautifully, and thank you for that. Can you share a little bit about your experience in the Hype Global Virtual Accelerator? How was the interaction? How was the process? Was it overwhelming? Did you manage to see this? How was it with the startups, the interaction? We have the demo day coming up in Tuesday. Can you share just in the process for, I don't know if there are other teams which are exploring the opportunity, whether to join such a program. How was it for you?
It's been exceptional. It's such a fantastic program. One, from the quality of the startups, two, to the management and the team that we've been working with. Everything has been such a spectacular experience, and it's really been a pleasure to be a part of it. In terms of kind of what we're getting out of it, is this demo day, the way the whole thing is structured is really great. It positions us to demo a product, to do a pilot. And that's really what we're interested in from a strategy perspective. Technology is hard because you can have the greatest idea ever, and if people just don't understand how to use it, then it's all for naught. So the concept of being able to go and slowly work with these startups on proving their concept, that it's not just a good idea, that it actually matters to our fans, that whole structure is really important. And it's really what you drive home at Hype, and why I think the program's so successful is you don't rush into a big deployment. It's all about proving the concept first.
Brilliant. And have you had a chance to really choose one or two startups and really start a process of piloting with them? You don't need to reveal everything. We leave some for Tuesday.
Yeah, no spoiler alerts. No, we have a couple plans up our sleeves, and we're excited for demo day to show what we've come up with. But it's been great to work with these companies, and I think that I wish we had more time. If there was one thing I wish we had more of, would be just amount of hours to putting together more programs, because I think there were a lot more use cases we would have liked to explore. And ultimately, trying to support these companies for demo day, we ended up having to go a certain direction with a limited number. But under a longer period, I think we probably could have done a couple more.
Excellent. Brilliant. Good. Any questions you want to ask me, Jamie?
No? I'm terrible with questions, but how would you say the program's going so far? What are your takeaways?
I think that it's the first time that we, usually we are running this program now for almost 5 years in different locations, but it's the first time that we really approach the clubs, the teams, the brands, and ask them, what is the major challenges that you have? And I think we find it amazing that how open they were. I don't know if it was because of COVID and there was a different feeling in the air, because of maybe they had more time to look at innovation suddenly because there was not many actions and games around. But there was really a togetherness of really sourcing the major challenges, a lot of, I would say, authentic, open conversations. And out of that, and inviting people around the world to provide a solution, I think created a tremendous affinity. We had over 100 volunteered mentors, industry leaders, and investors, and the idea was that everybody will get something out of it. So it has to be. I hear your dog there. Yeah, all good, all good. It doesn't sound like a scary dog.
He's a little one.
Yeah. So I was, I think, overwhelmed by the state of mind that everybody came together to impact the world of sports. And it started with finding solution for COVID and maybe accelerating processes of, as you mentioned earlier, no touching the screen in the stadium, so you can queue for your hot dog, but you don't need to touch anything. And then it developed to fan engagement in the stadium, at home, and then more and more technologies and AI technology. So the more technologies came over. So I think, and also I hear when we speak to, I don't know whether it's the Golden State Warriors or the Miami Dolphins and the LAFC, they all feel that innovation is playing a more, I think, a central role in the activity of the team, and there is more attention and more generous listening to innovation. I think that's great, and I think it's great to hear that your strategy and your, I would say, the philosophy that starts, I believe, from the owner of the team is, we would like all the time to make our fans, to put them in the center and to give them better experiences. And there's so many new tools now to make it happen. Yeah. So, and I think it's about being proactive, because there are teams we know in the NHL and anywhere in the world that, chose to be on the defense and just to think about how we do survive the day. And, you and I can see it, and I heard it from the people in the program. You are thinking, 5 steps ahead. You have your game plan forward, and you're looking at innovation, which will be the futuristic innovation. So that's a different mindset, and it takes something to do that. So
I'm biased. I think it's the right approach, but it's an interesting time. Technology has an interesting place in the stadium of the past, but I think COVID is going to have unexpected impacts on the stadium of the future. And it's going to, and as always, you're going to have your leaders and you're going to have those who want someone else to try it first. And managing where you sit on that spectrum is obviously one of the biggest challenges. And so I'm excited to see what others do. I'm excited to see where we lead, where we follow, and what comes next for us.
Brilliant. So I'm looking forward for Tuesday to see how was it, and maybe to get some insights of what kind of great technologies you liked and you're looking forward to. And I also heard that you are not ruling out to extend the time, so maybe to have a additional chance in the future to see more solutions, maybe different segments. There are so many solutions coming up now, and we are now starting a new vertical focusing on sports betting.
Nice.
We're now going to start a vertical focusing on fans and 5G separately. So there's tons of, I would say, opportunities coming up, and I think there is a lot to explore here on a global level, and on the NHL and the Islanders level as well. So thank you again, Jamie, for joining us. Really inspired us today with your vision, with your coach, and looking forward for Tuesday and for next time we talk.
Absolutely. Enjoy the day.
Thank you. Bye for now.